on January 1st of 2017.
That is just wrong.
More just anti-gun laws by anti-gun people that will do absolutely nothing to curb crime. They want to feel safe. They don't want to be safe. And there's a big difference in feeling safe and being safe.
Safe space and let us get our ammo.
Exactly.
And let the California shooters get their ammo.
I feel so bad for, and if we have any listeners in California, man, our thoughts go out to you, man. Y'all have it rough out there. Here in Florida, Florida is so gun friendly. Y'all should move down here. We got room. We can just mow another orange grove down and make an apartment building for you. Come on down.
Sure, come on.
But because the gun laws out there just really, really suck, for lack of a better word. I mean, they really do. It's just awful how
it's just very restrictive.
What they put shooters through out there.
Well, keeping in the firearms news, the price of .22 ammunition is expected to drop.
Woohoo!
This comes to us from gunwatch.blogspot.com. In the run-up to the 2016 election, the price of .22 caliber ammunition has been fluctuating up and down, but it's been staying around 6 cents a cartridge for baseline bulk ammunition. And the reasons are clear. Production of .22 caliber ammunition is up by about 2 billion rounds a year, and that was billion with a B. They're just responding to over-the-top demand in the last 4 years. The reason for this is attributed to many new gun owners and shooters that have been created. People in the industry have also reported that the new generation of shooters is more likely to go through about 500 rounds of .22 caliber ammunition in one single shooting session instead of about 50 rounds. And moreover, decent .22 rifles and pistols have really become relatively cheap. There are 100 million or more .22 caliber rifles and pistols in the United States. They are incredibly popular, and with very little care, they can last for many, many decades. A considerable amount of demand has been a bubble created by concern over gun control. It is one of the few areas where President Barack Obama was stymied by the American people and Congress. We even heard from Hillary Clinton, who fed the fear with her campaign rhetoric and potential Supreme Court justices.
See where that got you, Hillary?
Right. With the election of Donald Trump, that fear hopefully will be subsiding. Many owners of these .22 caliber firearms have built up a stockpile of a few thousand rounds of ammunition. And this ammunition, if it's stockpiled, it has not been shot. So it's going to be around for a while. The experts are expecting bulk .22 caliber ammunition to be available for about 4 cents a round by October of 2017.
That is excellent news. Read that last sentence again.
The experts are expecting bulk .22 caliber ammunition to be available for about 4 cents a round.
Folks, that figures out to about $20 per brick of 500 rounds. That is absolutely awesome compared to what we had to pay, recently. We've been paying, $40, $50? I know at one point when there was a big run on it, we were paying $60 and $75 for just one brick of ammunition.
Right. And I remember paying $20 for a box of 50.
Yeah. Oh, wow. It was out of sight. So
yeah, that was just way too expensive. So I'm really looking forward to the .22 caliber ammunition price coming way down.
And like some of the people in the story that was reported, we've stockpiled some .22 ammunition as well, but we're certainly not going to get caught again, being that low and having to pay those exorbitant prices because that's just ridiculous too much. Right. Once it comes down to $20 a brick, we'll probably pick up at least another 2,000 or 3,000 rounds of it.
And we'll buy as much as what they will allow us to buy per day.
Yeah, keep it put back, and it might come in handy in the future. Well, let's move on to our defensive gun uses.
Go ahead, make my day.
6:45 shots fired at my location.
And now, defensive gun uses from around the world and around the block.
This story comes to us from Channel 6 WJBF in Aiken, South Carolina. There was an attempted robbery that happened at a Circle K store shortly before 6:30 a.m. According to the Aiken County Sheriff's Office, someone was pumping gas when another person armed with a gun approached the victim and demanded money. The suspect has been identified as 39-year-old Stephen P. Klimek of Batesburg, which was a nearby town. Klimek also demanded the victim to get into his vehicle. The two began fighting, and the victim managed to get the suspect's gun. The suspect finally got his gun back, but then the victim grabbed his own firearm and shot the suspect several times. The suspect was pronounced dead at the crime scene. So there you go.
There you go.
You never know who's armed, so these robbers need to take notice that people can still carry.
And notice what time that story took place too. 6:30 a.m. in the morning. You know, people are going to work. They're not thinking about crime at that early in the morning. They're not thinking about, being victimized either. And that's something that can happen at any time when you're out and about. So it's always important to keep armed.
And at least the victim was... He was armed and he was aware of his surroundings. And he decided that at first he was going to fight back before pulling his own firearm. So it sounds to me like he pulled his firearm as a last resort. He probably should have started off with that, I'm thinking. We had a similar incident happen to us at a was it Circle K or racetrack? It was a racetrack.
It was a racetrack. We stopped for fuel, and I was driving. I had to look something up on the computer, so I was busy on my phone while Janet was pumping fuel, and some street person came wandering over to her. He had a cast on one leg, and he had a cane.
We had seen him earlier, and he was moving rather quickly through the parking lots.
So we don't know if the cast was real or not. But anyway, that cane that he was carrying could certainly have been used as a blunt force weapon if he wanted to use it in that way. So he approached Janet to ask for money. And a lot of times you'll see this happen. We saw it happen during our law enforcement careers where people will try to get close to you and get into your space by asking a benign question such as, hey, can I have some money, or I ran out of gas, or they have stories that it seems like there must be a manual that they all read I think so, that they recite from. And, just, hey, tell these people, don't worry about being rude. Just look at them dead in the eye, put your hand up, say, stop, back up. I can't help you. Go on your way. And if they go on their way, fine. If they don't, then they may mean you harm. So, But
to end this story, I pecked on the window to get Tim's attention just to let him know what was going on. And he was able to look in his rearview mirrors to see what was happening. So he quickly exited the vehicle. And as soon as the panhandler saw Tim walking around the vehicle, he scurried off rather quickly.
My defensive gun use story comes to us, don't know. I think this was national news. It actually made it national news. I don't know where this particular story that I have here in front of me came from, but the headline was that civilian shoots and kills man attacking a deputy in Florida. So this happened right here in our home state of Florida. It says that Monday morning commute in Estero, Florida came to a standstill today after a suspect led police on a wild and deadly chase along southbound I-75. One of those drivers who got caught up in the drama this morning was Rick Maestas. He spoke to WINK News this morning and had this to say about what he saw. He says that there were several high-speed pursuits on the left shoulder. When I got off the ramp, there was a man on top of another man. They were struggling for a little bit, and then I heard 3 shots. Then the man who was sitting on top of the police officer fell to the side. The police officer got up and was exhausted and then laid back down, and then help came. Other drivers who witnessed pieces of the action as it was unfolding wrote about it later online. One person said that the suspect drove past them going about at least 120 miles per hour. He says he flew by a deputy, and then the deputy chased him for at least 3 exits.
How did that person know that he was going 120 miles an hour?
I don't know. Maybe he just estimated.
Okay.
It appears that the deputy was working an accident at mile marker 126 when the suspect came upon him, and that's when the pursuit began. Another woman wrote that, I watched the suspect jump out of his car and run toward the officer and tackled him. Lee County Sheriff's Office told local news media that the deputy who was involved is a 12-year veteran and is expected to be okay. The suspect who was fighting with the deputy was killed during the struggle. And WINK is reporting that a passerby is the one who shot him. So this was a concealed carrier, legal, law-abiding citizen, concealed carrier, who happened upon this deputy who was struggling with this bad guy. Bad guy apparently had gotten the upper hand, was sitting on top of the deputy and was pummeling him when the concealed carrier decided to take action. And kudos to the concealed carrier for potentially saving that officer's life. I mean, that could have turned out...
He more than likely did save the police officer's life.
I mean, if he had knocked the police officer out, or the deputy, if he had knocked him out, he could have got his gun and then just shot him right there laying on the street. And, you know, they're subject to do that sort of thing. Here's an interesting update to that story, though, that I just love this part of this story. A gun store in Fort Myers, Florida, called the Lee County Sheriff's Office about a problem. You see, the hero that shot and killed the guy that was pummeling the Lee County Sheriff's Office officer on the side of I-75 had his gun taken as evidence. And the gun store, which was Shoot Straight, that's the name of the store, couldn't stand the thought of this patriot running around unarmed. So a couple of deputies picked him up and took him to the store, and Shoot Straight gave him a new gun and sent him on his way. Isn't that awesome?
And I would like to say thank you to Shoot Straight for being outstanding citizens, for just recognizing the heroic efforts of this concealed carrier.
And good for them. I mean, they gave him another gun so he wouldn't be unarmed. Until he gets that one back from evidence. That's pretty awesome of them.
And who knows how long it's going to take for him to get his gun back from evidence.
Yeah, it could take a while.
My next defensive gun use story was reported by ammoland.com. I guess they got the story from WIBC News 93.1 FM. When they reported a Burgersville, Indiana, which is in Johnson County in Indiana, woman was attacked inside her home by a masked man early on Friday morning. This happened just after midnight in the Harvest Grove neighborhood near State Road 135. Police say a woman was letting her dog outside when a man wearing a ski mask and a gray jacket ran inside her home. The victim, who was home by herself, told police the man attacked her in her living room. She was able to get away and run upstairs, but she was followed by the intruder. That's when she went into her bedroom, grabbed her husband's gun, and fired at the man twice. The intruder fled the home. Investigators do not believe the man was hit by the bullets. So then the woman went to a neighbor's house to call for help. She was not seriously hurt, but was taken to the local hospital anyway to be checked out. So the investigation is ongoing. At least she had presence of mind to fight her way off, or fight her assailant. She knew where the firearm was in her house, and she ran to get it to defend herself.
Doesn't say anything about her being trained herself in firearms, and it mentions that she grabbed her husband's gun, so I'm thinking maybe he had the gun, maybe it's not something that she was accustomed to.
Maybe it was something that they just didn't really talk about as self-defensive inside their house. I bet it's something they're talking about now. But everyone needs to be careful when they do take their dogs out late at night like that, to make sure that the door is shut, they have lights on. Oh, this happened in the morning, right? It was just after midnight. Oh, okay. It says early Friday morning. Oh, okay. But early Friday morning is just after midnight. Yeah, midnight still qualifies as, yes, it does. As night. Yeah. All right. Let's move on to what's in your range bag.
Hey baby, it's time to talk about the hot, sexy new guns, holsters, ammo, gadgets, and gear from the firearm marketplace. So come on baby, let me take a peek. What's inside your range bag?
Okay, my what's in your range bag item for this episode is the Sure Fire R1 Lawman flashlight. This is a really nice flashlight.
You love your flashlights.
I do love flashlights. You never know when you're going to need a flashlight. And I like this one a lot until I got down to the suggested retail price of it there. But I'll get